am the new middle school and high school principal for Faith Bible Christian School. I want to just take a quick few minutes, share a little bit about myself, and get ready for this upcoming fall when I get to meet you all for the first time. Really, this is the second time for you. Up here in the picture, you've got my family, my wife Nancy, my son Caleb, and my daughter-in-law Emily there in the middle, and then my daughter Audrey on the other side. Caleb and Emily are both nurses in the Portland area. Audrey is finishing up at the University of Oregon. On the right side, you'll see our labs. The Hudson is the yellow, and Raider is the chocolate. No, I'm not a Raiders fan, although from California. Originally, we were from Wisconsin. And that, a little bit of my background here then as well, is that from Wisconsin, that's where I started out with my Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from University of Wisconsin, River Falls. Also acquired my middle and high school teaching license while there. I started working right away, and I'll get a little bit into a couple of schools I've worked at. But then God called me into seminary, so I went to TEDS, which is Trinity Evangelical Divinity School in Chicago, and got my master's in Christian Studies. I assumed God was going to call me into full-time pastoral ministry, and he said no. I remained in education and eventually moved to California, where I am now, or was most recently, working at Reading Christian School, where I was the principal, chief administrator for the middle school and high school at that school. While in California, I started and finished my master's in ed leadership from GCU, and then I'm currently in progress with the PhD program at Northwest Nazarene University. I started out teaching at Ripon Public Schools, which is up here in the upper right. Prairie School, in the upper right. Prairie School is a college preparatory day school for pre-K through 12 in Racine, Wisconsin. Then I went to Ripon Public Schools, where I taught a little bit of mathematics, and then most of the time was working with at-risk students in improving literacy using different types and forms of assistive technology. Moved back to Racine, where I then stepped into a more leadership role at the Prairie School, and was there until 2014 when we moved to California. Reading Christian School then is on the bottom right, where I taught and was leader for 9 years as the chief administrator there. I still taught in all those circumstances statistics, because that is the area of mathematics that I've appreciated and liked the most. And as such, College Board, I work for the College Board part-time in the summers, grading AP exams. And some people might think that is the craziest thing ever. It is great professional development. Definitely improved my ability to teach statistics. It also improved my just connection with a lot of stats-minded teachers and professors from around the country. Some fun facts about me. In my past, I was a wrestler for many, many years. I then coached it and refereed it for a grand total of 30 years. Not all of that individually 30 years, but all together from beginning wrestling until when I stopped being a referee was 30 years. I was part of a dragon boat team. So if you don't know what that is, this is what Google is for. But I was on a competitive dragon boat team in the Midwest, and I paddled fifth row. Also from the Midwest, I was on a curling team for many years, and then eventually skipped my own teams. In my free time, I roast my own coffee beans from raw beans out of all different parts of the world. There's a specific area of Guatemala that I appreciate. Also some areas of Burundi and Rwanda. For fun, I like to get outside. Backpacking, hunting, hiking, fishing, shooting, all sorts of shooting sports, hiking, and then most recently pickleball, which is just really enjoying that time there. Probably the most important thing about me, though, is the fact that I accepted Christ when I was in middle school, going to a junior high church camp, where I really sensed the Lord convicting me of the sin that I'm born with, that I'm ingrained with, and realizing that there is no way that I can achieve anything towards my relationship with God without Christ, because Christ was the sacrifice that paid for the sins in my life. I was an arrogant young man, and God has done a work in me that is, I think some people would find hard to believe in where I am these days. There have been other areas in my life where God has really demonstrated his faithfulness to us. My wife and I, and I'll be sharing many of those probably over the next few years, as I get to know many of you more. The most common one that you'll probably hear me talk about is the issue of cancer in my life. My son, who you saw in that first picture, he was diagnosed with leukemia at age 4, and then later on at age 21, he had a sarcoma that was inside of his maxillary sinus that required some surgeries and various chemos and radiations. My mom had cancer many times, and that's what eventually took her life last year. My dad has had cancer. I have not, but have found out in recent time that I carry a genetic characteristic that makes it more likely for my children to have cancer, but then also potentially myself as I get older. So there's always the reality of that, and I think we all face different aspects of trauma that have impacted us, that shape us and form us. And then the question I always wonder is, how is God using that? And I'll share many more times in the future about how God has used those experiences to shape me, mold me to be more like Him, and to use me for greater ministry. I teach and lead research-inspired and outcome-driven. Research-inspired, my background in statistics really says, let's look at what is out there, what has been done, what has been proven to work, and then let's use that to create some outcomes and drive towards those outcomes. When I was a teacher, I did these things called 10-minute bursts only. Building thinking classrooms is a Peter Lidgdahl concept, research-driven, that's been more recent. Think time and no hand raising. I can explain that later. I'm not a big fan of people who raise their hands. And there's a reason why, in terms of brain development, specifically why we do that. How I teach has typically been a flipped model. For over 20 years, I've rarely lectured in a classroom when I teach, even when I teach at the college level, where I teach. I've taught advanced algebra, pre-calculus, and statistics. Because what I want to do is, in time together, is build context. Content can be acquired many different places. From a leadership point of view, I am definitely in alignment with what's considered transformational leadership and what that looks like, in large part because of my relational attitude and how I approach what I do on a daily basis. When it comes to discipline, the book that really inspired me was Disciplining with Dignity. And I say that because the role of principal does have that level of accountability that comes into place. I hold myself accountable to many, many things, and when I make mistakes, you will hear me confess and admit my mistakes in that process. And we do that. When we do that together, that's how we're going to grow as a community and as a school. I definitely have an open door policy, which essentially is, if I'm in my office, which I don't like to be there very often, and the door is open, which it almost always is, I would encourage you to come in and we can have conversations about whatever is pressing on your mind, whether it be a student with an issue and a concern and a need, teachers as teachers are learning and thinking and figuring out how best to meet the needs of certain students, parents, you as well, for just sometimes just coming in and getting information from me, whether it be for college counseling, for upcoming scheduling, etc. Because in running a Christian school, to me, that's going after the heart transformation and genuine Jesus following, and that's always challenging. It's messy work, and because we're Christians or not, Christians aren't exempt from having messy times in that. But our parents and our kids are real people, teachers, administrators. We are real people, and we are all image-bearing but fallen human beings with all sorts of baggage and circumstances that can influence how we approach our conversations in the time we are together. But I also know and have experienced this, that Christian schooling is the most effective tool in fulfilling that great commission in the lives of our students. And that's the beauty of what I get to do. That's the beauty of what we all get to do as we partner in what's going to happen next here at Faith Bible Christian School. I am excited to get up and meet you all. I am going to be actually at some of the parking lot volunteering that's going to be happening in support of our athletic department. So maybe you can come out and see me there and also log some hours and get some volunteering in. And then around the office and on to our first days of school.